Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the Mediator with me, your host, Brian West, here to give you every week your top 8 stories that made it, top 8 headlines and developing news stories that made it into the Mediator, and not only just in the Mediator, but in the news that may be important to you so you can stay informed and see what's happening in your neck of the woods. You may not understand why things are happening or why things are going the way they are. In the process of the show, if you want to contribute in any way, you can go to METHOD, the number 8inc.com, and you can sponsor a program, click on something, buy something, watch something, or just read something to help us out. And if you want to catch the program, if your signal is not strong enough, you can also tune in to www.600wsom.com, and you can tune in online, and you can see what's going on. Or if you want to catch the program later on throughout the week, you can also go to the website www.method, the number 8inc.com. The shows are usually posted Monday morning, so you can check it out. You can also view other things on the website as well. Let me read the disclaimer. These top 8 stories that I give to you are only documented for records and to highlight topics for those in the business of talk radio, talk media, and those who just want to stay informed. Now it's time. Let's get to the top 8 stories that made it into the media this week with me, Brian West. Story number 1, ladies and gents: globalism or independence. This is the story. This story made it in because there's a lot of people who are confused and they don't understand not only just the agenda of this president. If you did not know, each president had a different agenda. Obama had a different agenda, and the Trump administration has a different agenda. Now, Republicans are mainly pushing they're pushing this independence. I don't know if you all tuned in, but there was an interview with Hannity, and I believe it was Rush Limbaugh, and a lot of people are looking at the common sense factor of America in general, and nobody wants to see America under a globalist structure. They don't want to see the Constitution devalued. They don't want to see it go away. So when you see two parties battling it out, I think there's a little bit of confusion. Like I said, each president had a different strategy, a different way of thinking. If you don't remember, there were big interviews back in the day with President Obama, and he was against certain things, and a lot of people don't understand the Constitution, and a lot of minorities, even minority groups, I said I'm a black man, so a lot of my ancestors, my race, the same people, don't. Some people care about the Constitution, and some people don't understand because of the fact that when it had talked about African Americans being owned as property and things like that. So, but the big scale, I think what people maybe are getting confused, especially as we get closer to midterms, and as the big picture is the fact that is democracy, is the United States in danger? Is the structure, the constitutional values, the independence, is it in danger? There's some big time news gurus who have been saying, even if you listen to some of the some of the late night radio shows, they were always talking about this conspiracy of globalism. A lot of them are talking about this. This has been under the ground for so long, and it's been a discussion. And you may see, some people are wondering, why is there a spike in political violence? There were some stories that made it. I'm going to get to where you had people being guys sending bombs to big time political candidates, even old time presidents like Barack Obama, sending them to Hillary Clinton, sending them to George Soros. So this has been stirring up, and if you don't know what's going on, it's easy for you to. That's why it's always important to stay informed. So the thing is that is there a real fight against globalism right now? Is this the big thing? Is this the real issue? And is it a threat to independence? This is the topic, and that's why this story crept into to the top 8. And if you have not been keeping an eye on things, if you're new, if you don't know what's going on in the news, if you don't know what's been stirring up for so long, this is not new, folks. This stuff has been it's been stirring up for a long time. Even if you go back to the Reagan days, the Nixon days, even when we were having the Great Depression, people have always been concerned about the state of a representative republic, a representative democracy, the United States of America. The Constitution has always been guarded. Even when you had the abolitionist movement, when there was a fight to free slavery, when you had Abraham Lincoln in office, and we are still in the recovering stages. So this is the reality of the situation. And when you see this agenda in the making, that you have to try to figure out, is this what's stirring up the atmosphere in America? Especially when you see a guy send bombs to big time people who have been in the business of politics for a long time. So this is what we have to get squared away when we talk about stories in the news or in what's going on in the media. So I mean, when you like I said, each agenda was different. So Trump's agenda, you can even look at his slogans, like even what he's been doing with the trade deals, the renegotiation, the slogan like "Make America Great Again." That slogan has been around for a long time. So has this agenda is this agenda causing too much of a problem? Is it real? Because obviously there must be something happening to where each side is fighting against something. Somebody has to have a goal. And if the goal is for independence, then during this midterm election, you may want to figure out what candidate may be, because independence, if the United States ever lost its standing as an independent country that promotes freedom and democracy for all, then we'd be in trouble. So these are some of the questions that you have to ask yourself when you hit the poll. They got all this talk about socialism and so many things going on in the media right now, but this story crept in because of the fact that it may grow as these agendas start to get, especially, we even just had some things happening on the religious sector where a guy went to the synagogue in Pennsylvania. So these agendas are starting to reveal themselves, and what's been swept under the rug for so long is starting to come to light. And there's some fact, and there's some fiction, and there's some storytelling out there, but there's a real goal to keep the United States Constitution alive. There's even been Rockefeller files where they've been talking about this big globalist agenda, one world government, new world order. So is that what the real fight is against right now? Is that what this agenda, is that what you see happening? Is there a real battle going on when it comes to United States keeping its independence? And that's what can thaw out all of this mess. And if there is, then we have to figure out what is at stake, or what really is going on in the arena of politics. So like I said, we even have some there's a new drug deal. I guess the United States, I guess Trump is homing in on U.S. drug spending when it comes to medications. I guess in the next 5 years, we're going to be factoring in what other countries are paying. So the Trump administration is making moves, and people who have been in politics, people who know what's going on, have been saying that this stuff needs to be done to protect the United States' independence. So Obama scrapped this, I think it was a way to get medication cheaper to Americans. I think it's a lot of people opposed this. Drug companies opposed it. They've been, I think, lobbyists spent like almost $250 million in 2016, and I guess Pharma was against it. So there's so much going on within this Trump administration. So much that I may get to some of it in the show today. But it's not just Trump. There's something happening in the atmosphere. A lot of people are calling Trump an idiot, saying he doesn't have speaking skills. But I mean, the guy he's got voted for president. So something you don't just put an average Joe. And if they did put this guy in the White House for what they're saying is white privilege or whatever is happening, then I think the system may be flawed. But some of the things that Republicans are addressing are real issues. And this is what's, I mean, everything else does not seem relevant. I mean, this administration is trying, even when it comes to the tax cuts and things like that. They said that this deal that I was talking about, this redoing of the way the United States purchases medications from companies, I guess they're basically reorganizing how Medicare pays for expensive drugs while also factoring what doctors get paid. So they're trying to get things done for the betterment of America. Now, in comparison, I guess the United States spent $1.7 billion in 2016 on, I think it's Reduxin, and it was I guess it treats non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. Now, with the new plan, from a difference of 1.7, they say that it would have saved the United States $1 billion less. This is according to reports. You can do your research, but the moral of the story is that people are trying to protect the future of them. If it's a real agenda, and you get to the election polls and you see these things happening, these are the decisions that you have to make when you look at a candidate. Is this candidate going to cost more? The policies, are they going to cost more in the long run? Is this candidate being beneficial but to your local governments? Is this candidate able to give you, as a voter, what you're voting for? And if you lose or if you win, how can the candidate that gets elected, how do you make your voice heard? You have to, that's the way the system is structured. So that, I don't see any other way. But if the agenda is whoever's in office right now is to protect American independence and to protect the Constitution of the United States, that's the bandwagon I want to be on. There's a lot of proof that these two agendas, the Obama agenda and the Trump agenda, are totally different viewpoints. A lot of people did not agree with Obama's policies, and a lot of people don't agree with Trump's policies. But the fact is that there's also some other things that are going on that I'm going to address today. They're talking about some I guess some are saying that Trump has lied a lot, and so there's a lot of things that are, when you see groups coming out of the woodwork, especially with these groups, there's something going on. There's something going on underground, folks, and hopefully we can get to the bottom of this. Like I said, if you want to contribute in any way, METHOD, the number 8, INC.com. That was story number 1 that made it into the media this week. If you want to contribute in any way, METHOD, the number 8, INC.com. That's method8inc.com, where you can buy something, click on something, watch something, or just read something. And if you want to help us out, like I said, you can sponsor a program. Every little bit counts. We are independent arts company specializing in theater, media, videos, movies, music, consulting, and pretty much all fields: publishing, business, marketing, event planners, photography, videography, modeling, web consultants. We fix cell phones. We do ink, and we are performing arts specialists. If you want to stop by the office, we're there from we're at 5648 Market Street. We're there Monday through Friday, 10 to 6 p.m. Like I said, there is a we are there just to serve the public. I am there just to serve the public and use my skills that I've learned over my course of living to give to my community. Like I said, if you want to contribute anyway, METHOD, the number 8, INC.com, method8inc.com. If you want to, we're having an event, a community event on November 18th. If you want to meet me and some of the people who have been in some of the projects at Method 8, we are having an event at the Holiday Inn in Boardman at Boardman. It will be November 18th from 6 to 8 p.m. We'll be in there getting ready for the holidays, and then we'll be showing a film that we produce locally. Now let's get to story number 2. Is the economy enough to factor in a win for the Republicans as we approach November 2nd, as we approach Election Day period? The U.S. economy grew at a 3.5% rate in the third quarter. Now, if you guys do not know why President Trump was mainly elected, they say that this president was mainly elected because of his business skills, which a lot of people do not think are credible. But obviously his supporters think that the guy, when it comes to making moves and standing up for the Constitution and independence, he has a lot of support. And a lot of people are for this agenda. One thing you'll notice about when you vote is that when a candidate has a message or something geared towards that group and people are voting, a lot of people do not like the rhetoric that this president is spitting out. They don't understand where we're going as a country. They don't understand why he's saying the things he is. They say that he's enticing hatred, the things that he's saying. And I've listened to some of the guy's speeches, but the fact is that there is an agenda when it comes to what the agenda is, and that is protecting the freedom the freedom of America. But the question we have to ask ourselves is America in danger? Now, when you see the economy growing, some people say that this is not going to last that long because of the tax cuts, and they say that it's because the federal debt is increasing. So no matter what you do, you look at how long this can last. Can we continue to grow as we get closer and closer to seeing the transition and what we get as we get closer and closer to election? So when Trump signed the tax cuts, people are saying that Obama's policies would get us out of the recession. So you're seeing no matter which way you go, you're seeing two sides battling it out. And there are people who are just very, very against, like I said, two styles of governing. You have one style saying, the government should intervene. So one style is saying that, but the fact is that the middle class is suffering, especially in where I live at. You have jobs like GM. GM is suffering because of the fact that they need to bring in money. And when you talk about government regulation, government policies, trade deals, this all factors into local economies and how the system is structured. So when you see a political candidate in there and he's talking about bringing jobs or focusing on the economy, people need money. But you look at the stats, it's saying that more people are in the workforce, more people are getting employed. So that's what this president was hired for. They figured they needed somebody who was business minded in the White House. So when you're getting close, like I said, we're getting closer and closer to midterms. We only have a few more days left to voting. This is what you have to look at, especially when you're putting those people in office. Do they have business knowledge? And this is a key factor that the Republicans have on their belt right now. Is the economy improving under their watch? I mean, we are seeing a lot of acts of violence, but you look at how quick the federal government was able to respond to the Justice Department was able to respond to the package ordeal. The guy sent out bombs, found him just like that. So you look at this, how sharp we are. Have we been secure? I mean, have you seen any terrorist attacks on our soil? But we're, like I said, this stuff is happening around election day. People are wondering, is this by conspiracy? I mean, is it by coincidence that you see people marching up to the United States? Is this because we're getting closer and people want a job? Does this have anything to do with the election? This is the question that people are asking themselves. And if it does, who is doing this? Who's designing this? Who's behind this? So that's the question. And does it have to do with keeping America independent or making America a global force for the world, a global world, a new world order? So this is what the discussion is about, and this is what you probably see in the news, and this is probably what the fight is about. So if you don't know what's going on, I welcome you to get informed. As the mediator, it's my job to give you the top 8 stories so I can stay in between to see who gets what out of the deal. And right now I see the middle class suffering. Wages, things are going up, the price of things are going up, and people don't have money in their pockets. So these candidates, when it comes to the field of politics, as a government, they have to make regulation, make policies so that you as the voter can be satisfied and say that was worth my vote. So this is the question. Stocks have been seeing some ups and downs, getting closer and closer to election day. The Dow dropped 296 points on Friday, so we've been seeing some fluctuation. But people are saying, just relax. This happens all the time. Some investors are panicking. Some people are just sticking it out, trying to see what's going on. So let's get to story number 3 real quick. Like I said, if you want to contribute anyway, METHOD, the number 8, INC.com, methodating.com. You're in the media with Brian West, where I go through the top 8 stories that made it, top 8 news headlines and developing stories that made throughout the week. If you want to contribute anyway, METHOD, the number 8, INC.com. You can go there, buy something, click on something, watch something, or just read something. We're almost at the halfway point, and I am breezing through giving you the top 8 stories for yourself, for your family, so you can have something to talk about when it comes to putting the weight on the scales, trying to figure out who's doing what for you and your family. What policies are working? I mean, when you see all of this craziness in the country, that's not good. That's not good. It's not good business, because it puts people unsettled. People don't want to go out and have fun and do the things that they enjoy doing because they're afraid. Nobody wants to live the Jews have been through a lot. Like I said, once I get to the hate crime, I'm reading a book by I believe it's Howard Fast, and it talks about the Jews and just their life and some of the things that they've had to go through. It talks about the trials, just religion in general. When it comes to somebody who's got the mark, and especially the mark saying that they're God's chosen people, there's a lot to that. And then they talk about the crucifixion of Christ, and they blame it on. So this stuff is starting to come to light, and people are starting to get enlightened on what's going on. But there's no reason for people to go and just kill innocent people. The Jews have been forced through a lot of things. They've had to suffer through a lot. So let's get to story number 3 real quick. Story number 3. What or who is causing a spike in hate and domestic issues, domestic violence in this country? Now, once again, America is getting shaken up when it comes to racial issues, ethnic issues, social groups. And like I said, as we get closer and closer, we're in a system right now where there's so much technology that they're able to track things. Years ago when hate crimes would happen, when you had when we had this back in the day with the NAACP and so many different groups countering just racism and all different things. So now we're reaching a point to where people are just saying none of this stuff makes sense. Hate is a big problem, and it circulates, and it is in there, and it never leaves, especially if somebody's a loser. If you lose and you try to find a way to win, and you try to find a way to put your, some people use force. It happens in households when somebody can't pay the bills and somebody's standing in the way. They're doing stupid things. So it happens in every country. It happens with the Hutus and the Shiites. It happens with Americans. It happens with liberals, conservatives. So in this country right now, especially when it comes to figuring out what is better for this country, most people are saying that the conservative agenda is better. And this is what the fight is about. The stuff that's being unraveled into light right now is scary, because nobody can explain why there's so much hatred in people's hearts, and people are trying to explain it, but they may be doing it in a different fashion. And the fact is that some people are pushing ideas. They're pushing a way that they feel is the right way for people to live, and some people don't, or some people refuse. Some people still have different viewpoints, and there's a group of people basically looking and saying, you may want to rethink why you're doing what you're doing. There's no reason for people to do what they're doing, but they're doing it, and nobody can find a solution to it. Like I said, anti-Semitism is back in the headlines. I mean, there's things going on, and I say it's important that you stay informed. This is back in the headlines. 11 people lives at a synagogue in Pittsburgh. Then we have racial strife and white supremacy back in the news, fighting amongst police and the public, a rise in those who choose not to be affiliated with any religious groups because of the fact that they think religion causes too many problems. There's also a man who killed 2 people at Kroger's. He apparently tried to enter a predominantly black church minutes earlier, police say. And like I said, 11 people killed in a Pittsburgh synagogue massacre. So hate is in the news, and people want to know what's causing this. Why? What's the point? Is it going to get us anywhere? Is there really enough evil on earth for somebody to feel they have to go kill innocent souls? But this is what the reality is. There's hate filled up in people's hearts. People hate people, and that hate won't go away. Some people are saying that, I guess, there's a woman. She was there was some interviews that made in the news. She was talking about how she doesn't know how she's going to raise her children, her African-American children, because she doesn't know how it's going to affect them, because of the fact that she feels that the United States is prone, when you talk about police. So racism is in the news, and it's amazing because of the fact that people are trying to find a solution, and they're trying to find ways. Some people are spending their entire lives trying to undo things that happen on a day-to-day basis. It's hard to stop, to settle things, especially when you don't understand what's happening. Or you, just like when they had the massacre down in South Carolina. When you have things like that happen, and then you start seeing people branching off into their own ideologies, their own beliefs, they hold that hatred in them, and they stop liking other ethnic groups or other races. They start blaming them for wrongs, blaming them for why things are the way they are, blaming them. And this is the reality, and this is where we're headed, because of the fact that some people just have beliefs. They have like, people can understand the black supremacy or the white supremacy issue. Some people just have beliefs that they won't let go of, and this is a reality. And this is why you see things happening. I was reading about even about Hitler. People were drawn in to his beliefs, his ideologies, his way of living, and a lot of people suffered under that thinking. And this is what people are afraid of, and I don't know how people can. They're comparing the president that we have now to Hitler, but a lot. If you understand how people's faith starts to become into one person, I really recommend that you read up on how some people become dictators, how some people become how some regimes become relevant, how because people feed into the belief that this is the solution to every problem, and then people start grouping together. The next thing you know, you start seeing massacres, people getting slaughtered, and then nothing gets done. Nothing gets done. Then another dictator rises. One person falls, another one rises. It's the same pattern throughout all of history. So this is what we're facing. This is when you see people riding around in vans with all these pro systems. I mean, sometimes these people just need to get out and just relax and just chill out. They said the guy who I guess the guy who sent the bombs, they say this guy was a bodybuilder. He had some strip club affiliations. Then you had there was another story that surfaced about a slain a track star. She was getting, so I guess she had gotten a bad situation and ended up trying to pay her killer $1,000 so he wouldn't send out compromising photos, and she ended up losing her life. So there's some stories that are happening right now. Even a Florida teenager pulled out a gun on a praying high school football team. Hate is real, folks. Hate is real, and there's some people, there's a lot of unhealthy people out there. I'm sorry, but there is. And people feed into the madness, and they feel like they have to take matters into their own hands, and the next thing you know, you're seeing stories like this pop up on the news. Let's get to story number 4. Story number 4, we're at the halfway point. You're in the mediator with me, Brian West, giving you the top 8 the headlines developing news stories that made throughout the week that may be important to you during your week. Because like I said, we're approaching the holiday season, and folks, I mean, look at what this does in the atmosphere. Not everybody is a Christian, not everybody is a Jew, not everybody is a Muslim. The world is filled with all different beliefs. It's got to be that way so everybody can have something different to try. I mean, some people like flowers. I like walking through the grass. Some people like to smell things. The world is different. I mean, if there were just one Brian West walking around all day, it'd be hard for me to kind of have somebody to talk to. This is reality, and this is what mediation is about, folks. I'm trying to get you to understand that there's a different ray of light that shines from the sun. It's not always yellow. Sometimes it's blue, purple, green. It's different things, different flavors. Some people can't get along with their own people, so they go to find new friends. Sometimes I can't even get along with my mother, or I couldn't get along with my ex-wife, but it's fine. There's more fish in the sea. I'm not going to go blowing everything up. Man, I tell you, mediation is rough. Whew. But somebody's got to do it. Like I said, if you want to contribute anyway, METHOD, the number 8, INC.com, methodinc.com, where you can buy something, watch something, click on something, or just read something, or if you want to sponsor a program to help us out. Let's get to story number 4. Keeping an eye on the other guys. Story number 4 crept its way in because of the fact that there's so much going on a global scale. People are watching the United States because we have resources, we have things that they need, and trading and making deals with other countries. This has been going on since the beginning of time. People have goods and services that people need, but there are some things that are happening that we have to keep an eye on, like the fact that Yemen, they're in clear and present danger because they're facing a massive famine after years of violence. So their country is in need. People who are from Yemen, and the United States is a melting pot. So I'm sure their people are watching what's happening in their own country, and we can always contribute anyway. CIA Director Gina Haspel, she's briefed President Trump on the Khashoggi murder. I guess after her visit to Turkey, she came back with some details that have not been released yet. She claims that she's got some audio recordings of the murder, and also made it into this headline is after the Kremlin discussed the Khashoggi case with the King of Saudi Arabia. I guess he's been the Kremlin. Vladimir Putin has been over there in Russia. I guess he's been discussing some things with Saudi Arabia, and I guess they're making some deals. Yes, it says that Russia's sovereign wealth fund, I guess they announced plans to bring in Saudi Arabia's sovereign. I guess they're partnering up, and they're talking about Russia and China. So something is happening, and if we don't keep an eye on other guys, there may be some things that we may notice just popping up, and that's I don't know how long this story is going to last, but it bumped up to number 4 because of the fact that there's so many moves being made, and And that's the saddest part about being a leader of a country is the fact that you don't have to just worry about domestic issues. You have to worry about the whole world. Everybody's plotting on something. And now, although not hostile, two Iranian boats approached a U.S. ship with the top general on board. And Turkey's president, along with a host of people, want to know. They just want the Saudis to reveal the location of Khashoggi's body. So obviously, the guys, I guess they haven't. Something is really fishy about this story. I don't know how long this story is going to stay in the news or what's behind it, but there's something really fishy about this journalist who got killed, and they're saying that people have been apprehended, but I see this story staying in the news. Facebook finds more fake accounts from Iran, and there's also another story: Japan and China getting closer because of trade tensions with the United States. And 5 killed, hundreds injured in the latest Gaza border protests. Yes, North and South Korea began to demilitarize their borders. This was known as the scariest place on earth, the borders. NATO back on the hunt for Russian submarines in the Arctic. So there's some stuff going on in story number 4 that we have to keep an eye on. We have to be keeping an eye on other guys. That's why this story got bumped to number 4, because globally, no matter whenever you see, they're calling some of these attacks on United States soil as terrorist attacks, and whenever you see things like that happening, it has to open up your eyes to what's actually really at stake. That's why I say if you could pick a time to be informed, now is the time, because I'm sure everybody has children, somebody has families, somebody may have family in other countries, and they may not know what's going on. There have been people. I don't want to paint a rosy picture because there's a picture that can seem rosy, but there really is. People are making moves, folks, and when you see death in the news, that's scary. That is very, very scary. And when you see 14,000 people or 4,000 or however many coming from Honduras trying to get across or getting closer and closer to the border, that's scary, folks. That's real scary. Let's get to story number 5. We are moving along. We're at the halfway point. And like I said, it's my duty to give you the top 8 stories, headlines, developing news stories that made it throughout the week. If you want to contribute in any way, METHOD, the number 8, INC.com, methodeating.com, where you can buy something, click on something, watch something, or just read something. It is my duty to the mediator to give you the top 8 stories, headlines, developing news stories that made it inside of the news, so you can go and be informed, have something to talk about, the real issues that may affect something that you may not have known. You may start getting a different opinion after you hear what's happening in the news during the week that you may not have caught. I said it's always good to stay informed. Story number 5: Trump signs a new opioid law. So what does this mean? Yes, this is a story that's been surfacing about opioids and drugs. Period. And right now, a lot of Americans do not understand why their tax dollars have to go towards people who have a problem. They do not know who to punish. Do you punish the people who made the choice to use the drug, or do you punish the drug dealer for dealing the drug? Is it the drug dealer's problem for putting a bad product on the shelf? Opioids have become a big problem, and the government is starting to intervene, and rural Americans are saying that it's okay. Now, this means that the government is giving away money, tax dollars to help people with drug problems. And I see this story. The reason why this story made up to number 5 is the fact that people, especially when it comes to their tax dollars, people are sick and tired of having to spend money on people who are doing something that they don't feel they have a problem. They should be spending money, especially when they can't even afford to feed themselves. So I do not see the opioid problem, especially now that you have the government involved. Now, this is an expansive package that focuses on improving access to treatment services by lifting certain restrictions on Medicaid and Medicare coverage, as well as backing the creation of comprehensive opioid recovery centers. So the government is getting involved. They're also doing research into non-addictive drugs that could be used for pain management. Now, drug activist Larisha Cox, she is a paramedic who is now knocking on doors to get opioid overdose survivors into treatment. Folks, this is real. Now, the cocaine capital of the world, Colombia, is growing records amount of coca. Now, that's a key ingredient in cocaine. Colombian farmers like Tapia, I guess they produce 422,550 acres of coca. That's the largest coca crop in Colombia's history. So when you see people coming across the border like that, coming from that country or coming from near that place, you have to ask yourself, is it strategic? When you see people building tunnels under the ground, so is this a way to destroy America by getting people to eat off the tree of insanity, drugs? And is the Trump administration right for trying to intervene with the government? If you think this stuff is brand new, folks, you can go back to way in the FBI J. Edgar Hoover days, when the guy had to get information about nearly everybody in the United States. They called them G-men, and they had to go in and infiltrate and try to stop drug gangs, like even with the mob. So, folks, this stuff is nothing new, and I guess what each party is trying to say, especially Republicans, there a lot of conservative radio hosts are saying that this is strategic. They believe it's strategic. They believe that one party is strategically manipulating the news, manipulating the media. But the fact is what's the real agenda? Is the real agenda, just like it was in the Hoover days, to protect the United States Constitution from threats, foreign and domestic? Is that why we need to keep our eye on places like Honduras or Mexico? Because of the fact that people want to bring in drugs, or the fact that terrorists want to infiltrate the border? Let's get to story number 6. Real quick, if you want to contribute anyway, METHOD, the number 8, INC.com. It is a raining day here in Youngstown, Ohio, and I am trying my best to get to the stories. I tell you, when it rains, you feel a little bit weak, you feel a little bit tired, but I'm lifting myself up, giving myself my own glory to get to the top 8 stories to deliver to you by the hearing of my voice. I hope it gives you some strength, some energy to get through your week so you can be informed. Being informed is like the cure for the common cold, because the being informed makes you aware of what's happening. So like I said, if you want to contribute anyway, METHOD, the number 8, INC.com, methodating.com, where you can buy something, watch something, click on something, or just read something. The Independence Arts Company. We're located at 5648 Market Street in Boardman, Ohio. I'm there from 10 to 6, Monday through Friday. We will be having a movie premiere November 18th for the community. If you want to come out, tickets are $5, and you get to meet some of the local talent. And you also get to watch a movie and get something to eat, some popcorn. It'll be at the Holiday Inn November 18th from 6 to 8 p.m. Let's get to story number 6. Why are some people so pessimistic about their country? Folks, there's a lot of things that you may see happening, especially on your daily life. And you may see pride leaving a lot of people's atmosphere. And how did this occur? When did so many people start becoming pessimistic about their surroundings? And then when you ask yourself like that, you have to look at what's been happening. The United States has a lot of resources, a lot of securities, and still people in this country remain pessimistic, especially when it comes to politics. So the fact is, that this story got bumped all the way up to number 6 because, like I said, some mothers, and predominantly African, I mentioned this before, they say that they're having a problem raising their children because they're raising them in fear because of the color of their skin. Some people are even saying, even like when you look at the Jewish community, even the Muslim community, a lot of Muslims are saying they don't feel comfortable at times because of people's perception of Muslims. So this is, when you see a story like this surface, especially in mediation, I have to put on my cape and I have to ride in and try to figure out what's going on. You know, why do people feel this way about where they live at, their surroundings, and who are they blaming? Are they blaming the right people? A lot of Republicans cannot figure out, a lot of just Republicans, period, not just white, but some black Republicans don't understand why African Americans vote Democrat. They don't understand why minority groups vote Democrat. And this is something that you may see happening in the headlines as well. They don't understand this because they look at the state. They look at the past laws that were under. So Democrats are finding a way to undo things by trying to find a way to gain these people's vote. But people are looking at some people don't understand why there's so much black on black crime. So these are issues that are being addressed now, and they're coming to light, especially as we get closer and closer to the election, because each party is trying to give you a better outlook on a better way to manage or to govern. So when you see issues or the stories like this, or why people are so pessimistic about their country, this story can spread across the whole world. Why are some people pessimistic about China? Because of the fact that they live under a communist government. Why are some people so pessimistic about living in Afghanistan? Because some people say they brutalize women. So when you see these issues or why people are so pessimistic, it may just be because of the living conditions. So if you see political candidates during this midterms, you have to see how are they going to make it convenient for you so you can be optimistic. This is why this story bumped up to number 6, because of the fact that people are pessimistic. And when you see violence happening, or you're waiting for some type of words of comfort, especially when you have people coming in and blowing things up or killing people want answers, folks. People don't want to be pessimistic. They want to have something to believe in. But there's a reality that they're just hate inside every country. Just like Youngstown, where I was raised at. A lot of people are pessimistic about the city. But you go other places, the same things are happening. There's murders everywhere. There's just evil on earth. Some people remain optimistic, and that's how the ship stays afloat. There's nothing wrong with America. There's nothing wrong, but it's just the mindset that we have as individuals. There was also a story about an Ohio teenager is accused of trying to join ISIS after FBI sting. Now, why would somebody want to join a terrorist or a group like ISIS? Even some Muslims don't understand this group, why they're going and doing what they're doing. There was a story that made where 2 girls brung knives, machetes in class, talking about they wanted to murder their classmates because they worship the devil. Folks, there's evil. There's just things that we've lost touch with. Some things just haven't changed. Even if you want to get into religion, the Bible, the Torah, the Quran, they've never changed. Hinduism has never changed. Any Buddhism, the religions have stayed the same. Virtue, values, family. There's just some people out there who just don't want to live peacefully amongst everybody else. Even as I think in Sweden now, they're inserting microchips under their skin so they could have data. Things are changing, folks. And living conditions play a big factor in people's outlook on their surroundings. Let's get the top 2 stories that made it to the media this week. If you want to contribute anyway, METHOD, the number 8, INC.com, methodinc.com, where it's my duty to navigate the news just for you so you can see what's happening and so you can see what's affecting you and try to find a bottom line, someplace in between. I was depressed when I was looking at the stories. I always try to find something great, but stories that pop up in the news, and when you see people, I mean, in any community, death is not good, folks. A lot of people want to live long lives. And they don't understand why we have to die. Some people question God, but my belief has always been that there's peace on the other side. I believe that. So we don't have to get bitter. And it may be hard to forgive at times. It's been hard to forgive in my life. I've seen relatives die at the gun. I've seen gang violence in my life. I've seen my mother forgive my stepdad for abuse. I've seen things in my life. It takes a lot for people to forgive. It takes a lot. But as a mediator, I have to calm you down so you don't get that vengeance in your heart, that evil inside yourself, and want to be just like the person who's doing what they're doing. We can negotiate. We can talk about things. That's what mediation is all about, folks. And if you want to contribute in any way, METHOD, the number 8, INC.com, methoddating.com. Buy something, click on something, watch something, or read something. I try to give you both sides so people can see there's 2 sides of a coin. You know, and that's the difference. There's always 2 sides of something. You have 2 sides of your face. You have a left side and a right side. So there's a right way to live, folks. There's a right way, and some people just have to be accountable for the decisions that they make. And now these people's lives will never be the same because somebody decides they want to take the law into their own hands, and that's what happens. And that's why so many people are bitter. So many people. There's angry white people. There's angry black people. Angry Jews. Angry Muslims. People are just angry. They're filled with hate inside of them. And nobody can figure out where it comes from. Nobody. Try so many things. They even try so many things. They try to healing and speaking in tongues. They try to cast the demons out. There's so many ways to try to define these things. Nobody can figure it out. So if you want to contribute anyway, METHOD number 8 INC.com. We're at the top 2 stories. We're 10 minutes left in mediation, so let me get through them real quick. So, story number 7: will sending troops to the border solve anything? Now, this is a lot of people are asking, why not just make a deal with the Honduras government so they can stop their people from trying to get to the United States? But the truth is the fact that we've already made deals. The country, there's aid that's been sent to that country, and Trump has been saying it. We've been giving them money. Obviously, they have not been doing their job. These governments do not manage their people properly. They don't. If they were, then we wouldn't be having the problems that we have. That Honduras is filled with violence. It's filled with just, if you thought United States was bad, try going to some of these places. That's why these people are trying to get here. They're tired of it. They're fed up. And whoever got word to them to come to the United States, they all listened. And they all started marching. So this is what's happening. People are just tired. They're tired of living in fear. So they're trying to find some place to stay. But the reality is we don't have enough resources in this country to take care of all these people. And Trump wants to send almost 800 troops to the border. A lot of people don't even know how much good that's going to do. It's evident that there's a problem within countries, especially when it comes to governing. Even in Islam, in Muslim countries, a lot of people don't trust their officials. They're taking people's tax money. They're living it up, and the people are suffering. Even in the United States, people don't even have clean drinking water in some of these places. And you got officials. It's not. I mean, what is this, like the Roman days, where I can come out as a mediator? I got women feed me grapes, and I'm just eating off the fat of the land while all the citizens are suffering. This is what people are seeing, and that's why things are the way they are. This is why you're seeing what you're seeing. People are trying to channel their evil hatred in all these directions, but they don't know where to go because they're afraid to go up against the government. So that's why they're going after innocent people. You tell me, you get one of these guys. They talk about people who always want to assassinate the leaders of countries, and a lot of people just have a natural hatred towards the people who put the system together. Some people don't even know what the big picture is. There's a picture of a mother hanging off of a ladder under a bridge between Guatemala and Mexico. They have to be desperate as people. If you see this, they have to be. Who in the world would hang from a bridge to try to get to the United States? It's unbelievable. And the president is saying we've given money and aid to these countries. They're wasting American tax dollars. This is, like I said, these stories are unbelievable. There's even some, there's questions like, are unknown Middle Easterners or criminals mixed in the migrant caravan? Or were authorities from Mexico unable to stop the migrant caravan from heading to the United States? These are questions that are going to be asked, especially as we get closer and closer to midterms, because there are people from these countries in this country that are citizens, and they don't want to see their people suffering. Border Patrol says record numbers of crossing in September was 16,658 family members. They were apprehended crossing the border. So the only way to get to the bottom of this is not battling it out between two parties. We have to find a solution and a reason on why these governments, why they're taking funds and they're still having a problem managing their own countries. Simple. Why are these people marching all the way up to a country where they have no legal right? How are they getting through Mexico? One party is saying that this was strategic. Right around election time. Like I said, if you want to contribute anyway, METHOD, the number 8, INC.com, methodinc.com, where you can buy something, click on something, watch something, or read something. You're in the mediator with me, Brian West, where I go through the top 8 stories that I give you throughout the week so you can know what's going on in the world, so you can be informed. There is a lot going on, folks, and some people are settlers. They feel like they can just milk their way through it, milk through the system, and not have to face trials. But, folks, there's people saying that we have to do something because there's a reality setting in. And there's some people plotting on your meal, and they're saying that they can do the work better than you, and they're hungry, folks, and they're trying to get across the border, and they want your benefits, they want your cable TV, they want your scholarships, they want the benefits that you has as a citizen, and they're doing anything they have to do. They're walking and marching across the border. Let's get to the top story that made it to the media this week. Top 8 story: who is winning and losing with the Trump administration? This is a question we have to ask ourselves. Who is winning and who is losing with the Trump administration? Now, to understand the trade war, we have to look at what laws and rules that were imposed by the Trump administration and who they're benefiting. So if you did not know that this trade war has been brewing for so long, because of the fact that some companies say that they're being ripped off, they're losing revenue because of the fact that we have a lot of things made overseas. So when you look at this, when you go to the polls this week, you have to look at who is losing and who is winning in the Trump administration with these decisions. And if you want to ride it out and see what happens, it's up to you. Also, your zip code is giving big money in elections. In elections, you may not know, but Democrats and Republicans are receiving big money from your zip codes. This is something that you may want to keep an eye on as you get closer and closer to the election, especially if you're informed and you're trying to figure out who to vote for, who's getting paid for, and if they're getting paid for, what are they getting paid for, especially when it comes to their campaigns. You have to figure out who's funding who. President Trump continues to blame the media for nation's incivility. Is he right? Who's benefiting from this? But for me personally, the media is their job to report the facts, real things. But is the president right? Some people say that the president is a liar. They say he has a lying problem. The Washington Post thinks so. They say that this president, they're saying that it's proof. They said he said over 5,000 false or misleading claims made since he's been in his office for 601 days. So is this real? Is this real? And who is benefiting from fact and fiction? This is what we have to look at. If you did not know, Trump's approval rating was at 44.2%. His disapproval rating was at 52.2% last time I checked. I don't know if it's still accurate. Google and Facebook, Twitter, all tech companies have been splurging on Democrats ahead of the midterms. Ask yourself why. Who is benefiting from this? How is it going to affect you as a voter? Employees of the tech giants, they say, have given a total of $2.4 million to House and Senate candidates. These are something as we get closer and closer. November 2nd is not too far away. Election day is not too far away. Midterms. Trump threatens to pull out of nuclear arms treaties due to the claims that Russia has been in violation for testing cruise missiles. So you have to look at stuff like that. Who's going to protect you in the House and Senate? Whose policies are the best? And Republicans are saying that their policies will benefit you. Trump is saying that if he leaves office, you will see the economy tank. Is this reality? Is it true? Who's going to benefit, folks? The Trump administration gives states new powers to weaken Obamacare, especially when it comes to health care. President Trump says the United States will booster its nuclear arsenal, like I said, in response to Russia and China. He says this is needed. Folks, those are the top 8 stories, some local stories that you may want to keep an eye on. You may want to keep an eye on your the flu clinic locations and your I would definitely recommend you go to your local newspaper. There's also some always information about local candidates. So I would definitely recommend you go to your newspapers to see who's doing what. I want to thank you so much for tuning into the media this week. Like I said, you want to contribute anyway, METHOD, the number 8, INC.com, methodating.com, where you can buy something, click on something, watch something, or just read something, or sponsor a program. I want to thank you for tuning in. The book of the month this month is Monuments Men by Robert Edelson. Said there's a lot going on in the news. This is the week, folks, where you get to go and you get to voice your opinion. You get to place a vote. I wish you all the best of luck out on the polls. I hope that even if you are a winner or loser, that you embrace the freedom that we have in America, in this representative democracy, in this representative republic. I hope that you go to the polls and you vote and you voice your opinion. I wish you the best of luck. I wish your candidates the best of luck. I'm a good sportsmanship. If I lose, it is what it is. Maybe I'll win again next year. But I do hope that we understand what's at stake And the fact is that America, the Constitution, is always in danger because there's always somebody saying that they can govern and they can do it better. I want to thank you so much for tuning to the meter this week with me, Brian West. Wishing you the best of luck this week during the polls. Have a good week, everybody. And thank you for tuning to the meter with me, Brian West. Have a good week, everybody.
Have no fear, fellow citizens. The mediator is here.